Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday. I'm Dwayne Whitmer. Therefore, it's time for the weekly Whitmer Wednesday. This week's topic is going to be a little bit controversial and probably piss a few people off, but I decided that's what we're going to do. I don't give a shit anymore. This week, we're going to talk about the Republican and Democratic parties and how, on a foundational level, the two parties are, in fact, the same thing. Fundamentally and foundation-wise, the Republican and Democratic Party are the same organization. And so how this all started was the other day I posted something making fun of the two-party system. And this boomer got really mad at me and said that I was wrong and sent me this really dumb meme that it looked like a child made. And it said that, Republicans stand for freedom and Democrats love communism and Republicans love America and Democrats want the New World Order, and Republicans are saving babies and Democrats are just punching babies in the face. It's this really weird meme that kind of said that, he was clearly a Republican. And he said that, the Republican Party's fighting for patriotism and the Democrats are evil. And I said, well, congratulations. You are a victim of a psychological scheme used to con you into supporting the Republican Party no matter what happens, and you fell for it. You are now an idiot, and you will continually be duped by chameleon-esque politicians who now understand that it doesn't matter what they say, as long as they fearmonger the other side, you'll continue to support them. So congratulations, you are a victim because of your own stupidity. And then, further on in the post, some Democrat sends me something saying that, Democrats are fighting for democracy and women, and Republicans are evil insurrectionist terrorists that want to, force women to have kids. It's the same bullshit. And I said, the great part about this is that you're actually proving my point. So I'm going to get into that and talk about that and hope people really listen to understand what I'm saying, because once we have this conversation, we can really address the problem in this country, which is the Republican and Democrat parties are nothing but a jobs program and warlords fighting for control of the jobs program by selling influence. So when I say that the Republican and Democrat parties are foundationally the same, what I mean is they have the same goal, and that's to take over the progressive central government jobs program. That is it. They don't care how they do it. They don't care why they do it. They don't care what they need to do it. All the Republican and Democratic parties want to do is take over control of Washington, New York, whatever state you're in, local government. And then once they're in charge, use that to essentially control the spending of tax dollars to fund their jobs program. So like in New York, for example, Democrats, you have the Democratic jobs program is the water authority, school teaching, colleges. They tend to be more Democratic enrolled. And then the Republican jobs program, and this is proven if you look at Lee Zeldin's whole political campaign was, and actually if you read the Senate GOP, their real cucked out response to the state of the state. What does the Senate GOP want to do? Pay the police, pay correction officers, and some weird infrastructure bill. Why? Because in the government jobs program, police officers, correction officers, military, and highway infrastructure people like the Department of Highways, they're more right-leaning people. So it's paying their jobs program. That is it. So a lot of people don't understand and get frustrated when I say this because they disagree. They get emotional and they say, Democrats are evil, Republicans are evil. You're both right. Both political parties are evil organizations run by psychopaths. It's very similar to the political parties are like a used car lot, and they're selling you through the politicians who are like used car salesmen. Our Congressman Nick Langmuir looks like a skeevy used car salesman. It's fine. It works out. But they're selling you this 1994 Honda Civic with 3 tires that's been totaled 4 times. And they're telling you that, for just $26,000, It'll be a good car. They're selling you a shitbox. And if you've ever heard a politician talk, 90% of the time, they don't believe what they're saying. None of these politicians believe what they're actually saying. What they're doing is grifting. They know, Republicans know that if I go to a gun group, Chris Jacobs is great at doing this. Chris Jacobs went to gun groups and said, I believe in the Second Amendment. Here's a picture of me with a shotgun. And all you gun owners said, Chris Jacobs is our man. And then he tried to pass gun control. You were duped. I can't help you. I tried to warn you. You didn't listen. Maybe you listen now. I don't know. Maybe you won't. I don't care. I'm not running for office. But that's what you get. They know who they have to appeal to based on their district, what they have to hit, what they have to say, what they have to sell to con the average Joe Sixpack into voting for them. Once they're in charge, they don't give a shit. They now control the government force. Time and time again, on both the left and the right, you've been conned by these politicians. This is why the state of defiance, this is why direct action is the future. Relying on politicians will always get you burned. To attack it from the left, look at the legalization of cannabis going on in this state. I'm going to do a video on this next week, but let's talk about cannabis legalization in New York State. New York State admits that drugs has won the war on drugs. They can't stop the war on weed. You're not stopping weed. It's a plant. You can't stop it from growing. You can't stop it from being sold. You can't stop it from being consumed. You can't keep it out of schools. You can't keep it out of prisons. You can't keep it out of concerts. You can't keep it out of here. Drugs has won the war on drugs. So what does New York State do? Well, we're going to end the war on drugs, at least with marijuana. We're going to legalize marijuana. But the government jobs program needs their cut. The extortion program needs theirs. So what do the Democrats do? They form something called the Office of Cannabis Management, which is a bloated bureaucratic government jobs program. See where I'm getting at with this? And they pay a bunch of people way too much to do absolutely nothing. And then what happens? The defiance agenda, people say, no, we're not going to do that. And they just start selling things. They find loopholes. They find ways around it because the free market is smarter than the politicians. Politicians are dumb. Simple as that. They're not smart people. And so the free market finds a way around it through sticker shops, through defiance, through just non-compliance. So now what does New York State have to do? New York State has to expand the war on drugs and go after illegally run legal marijuana businesses. So we have to expand the war on drugs because the war on drugs failed. So with the war on drugs failing and us legalizing marijuana, there's still legal marijuana people selling illegal legalized marijuana. So we have to expand the war on drugs and expand the government jobs program so that we can have police raiding illegally run legal weed dealers and expand the war on drugs so that you get where I'm getting with this. I'm lost. I'm confused now. That's all it is the New York State government botched legalization because they didn't give a shit about legalization. They gave a shit about expanding their jobs program while pandering to the voters. New York State wanted the war on drugs to end. Rightfully so. That's good job, voters. You're smart. New York State said, how do we get our cut? How do we get ours? How do we get jobs? How do we get bureaucrats? How do we get tax revenue? How do we expand our jobs program while giving you dumb voters the table scraps? But what they didn't account for was the defiance agenda. They didn't account for people saying, hey, it's legal. Government sucks at doing what it does. I'm going to open a shop. I'm going to do it. And now they're caught with their thumb in their ass. I'm loving it. All these shops popping up on the reservations, all these shops popping up here. Wonderful defiance agenda. I'll do a video on the absolute botching of legalized cannabis sometime. But back to, the fundamental issue, the two parties being the same. Really, at the end of the day, and I can sum this up in a 20-second thing, the two parties use fear-mongering. I stole this from Jim Ostrowski, who might be watching, he might not. He posted, so maybe he's watching. The Democrats blame white supremacy, racism, Mitch McConnell, insurrectionists, white supremacists, Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, George Bush, John McCain, evil, to say, you can't let them win. You got to vote for us. We're heroes. And then the Republicans use, George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama as, Nancy Pelosi as these like evil boogeymen to dupe the dumb people into thinking they're your savior. That is it. From a foundational, fundamental perspective, that is all the two parties do. They have no ideas, they have no plans, they have no strategies, they have no goals. It is that guy's Hitler, that guy's communist, that guy's bad, I'm better. If you don't support the GOP or Democratic Party, you're either a communist or a racist. You got to support us or you're bad. People that don't support us are bad. Give us your money, give us your time. And the voters eat it up, mainly because the voters have gotten the shit kicked out of the last 5 years because of COVID and the lockdowns and the shitty economy. So they're desperate for a savior. And in a typical Stockholm Syndrome abuse situation, they don't realize that they have the power to stop this by just telling the politicians to pound salt. They start to worship the politicians. It's Stockholm Syndrome. And so they rely on it. So whenever someone tells me, when I say the two parties are the same, and some boomer tells me, some boomer on the right tells me I'm wrong and Republicans are saviors and Democrats are communists, or some boomer on the left tells me I'm wrong and, Democrats are about democracy and women and Republicans are white supremacist bigots. Look, you're part of the con scheme. You're a victim of a massive psychological warfare, massive fraud scheme. And, I hope you get help. Here I am trying to explain this to people. I hope people listen and understand. Some people are going to get mad when I say this, and I understand. I get it. You're going to get mad at the person who's exposing the grift, exposing the problem. But yeah, that's something that I've been pretty vocal about the last few years. Something I learned when I was younger was fundamentally, I see no foundational, I didn't say ideological, so don't get mad, boomers. I see no foundational difference between the Republican and Democratic Party. They are two warlords, two warring organizations fighting for control over the central government so they can project the government force they control onto those they don't like. That is it. Period. They're two progressive, big government-loving organizations who want to control the central government, to control the government force, to do whatever they want to people they don't like. That is it. Foundationally, the two parties are the same. And they both love government. They both love big government. They both love government jobs. That is it. Now, you can argue me ideologically, but neither party has any strategy or plan other than run for office, win office, government jobs, patronage jobs, cronyism. That is it. And whatever they have to say to get your vote, they'll say, mainly because they think voters are stupid. And to be honest with you, checking the track record, it's working out. I'm a little jealous how well it works, right? Like, they're always winning. So really, maybe I'm the dumb one for telling people this and just nobody cares. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, that's today's episode. I'm going to cut it a little short today because I feel like ass because it's tax season and it's kicking the crap out of me. But look, fundamentally, if you believe there's a fundamental difference between the two parties, I'm sorry. And I hate to be the one to tell you that you are wrong and you've been lied to your entire life. What you do with that information, that's up to you. I hope you realize that it's a problem and maybe learn from it. Maybe think about not believing in a large central government bureaucracy to solve all your problems. I don't know. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll start defying central government, defiance in India. Maybe you'll join the state of defiance. I don't know. Maybe you'll stop looking for a savior in the ballot box. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great night. It's a nice day out here. I'm going to go for a walk. Enjoy this nice weather we're getting here in February. It's like 60 degrees in February in New York. Global warming. Not mad about it right now, I'll tell you what. But you guys have a great night. Have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday. I believe I'm going to talk to the great Jim Ostrowski. And next week I want to do one about why third parties struggle, which is a similar situation, but really want to go into detail about why third parties seem to struggle. And actually, before I go, I'm going to take this quote from Jim Ostrowski. And it says, if you're playing poker and you don't know who the sucker is, you're the sucker. Yeah, and it applies in politics. If you're listening to a politician and you don't know who the sucker is, you're the sucker. But hey, keep giving your Social Security and pension checks to the Republican and Democratic parties. They'll definitely cash those checks and laugh at you when you're not around. But guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great week. Have a great evening. That is it for tonight. This is your weekly Whitmer for Liberty. I hope you guys learned something, or I hope it pissed you off and made you think, because really, I think that's what needs to happen. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Take care. Have a good one.